Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they both got hurt. They both gave you almost nothing. Tom Brady gave you almost nothing.
No team loses their top like 3 threats and just like bounces back like that.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Can we talk about this Saints Tampa Bay game? Because this one crushed the hearts and souls of so many fantasy managers. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they both got hurt. They both gave you almost nothing. Tom Brady gave you almost nothing. Taysom Hill, oh my goodness, Taysom Hill practically gave you nothing. I mean, single digits, in most typical leagues too. So boy, that is tough, man. That was a tough scene.
It's probably one of the ugliest box scores to look at that I've ever seen. So there's that. At least with Chris Godwin, and this is so like he gave you 6 catches before he left. The Godwin injury hurts the most to me, not just because I'm probably the most exposed to Godwin across all my leagues, but it just sucks because love the player, one of the best I think in the NFL. I think the best like power slot receiver, and he was playing on the franchise tag. Now he's done for the year. Leonard Fournette is a 1 to 2 week injury, so probably gone for the rest of the fantasy season at least. That brings Ronald Jones back into our lives, who did take 8 carries for 63 yards. I don't know what they're going to do without Lenny as a pass catcher. That's going to suck because he's been so crucial to them.
He's been ridiculous.
He had 7 catches on 7 targets last night. He's been like basically the most productive receiving back in the NFL, Leonard Fournette. We know Ronald Jones can't catch. He catches 2 passes last night for 8 yards. Whoop-de-doo.
Right.
And then Keyshawn Vaughn, they try to get him involved, and you're like Brady's staring him down for making mistakes. And then Mike Evans, he's week to week, so maybe could play on Sunday, but highly unlikely. I mean, this Tampa Bay offense, and look, I know obviously the Saints like have their number. Dennis Allen seems to have their number, the whole thing.
Right.
But also, look, it's just tough to lose one of your best players in the middle of a game, much less 2. And then we're talking 3 of their no question 4 best offensive skill position players. It's like, okay, we know that like we think Tyler Johnson, like Scotty Miller, some of these guys can kind of play a little bit, but I mean, you can't just no team loses their top like 3 threats and just like bounces back like that. I mean, they shouldn't have got shut out. That's pretty unbelievable. But nevertheless, like that is a tough and nearly impossible thing to recover from on the fly.
I just kept waiting for the inevitable Tom Brady comeback. Like, New Orleans had dominated that game, but they never took control of it. You know what I mean? They dominated the game, but they just never had full reign. I mean, they won 9-0, dude.
Yeah. They were
like,
6-0 for the longest time. At any,
that's
it was
what
like,
I mean.
Okay, Tampa Bay mounts 1 drive here,
and it's over.
Like the Saints can lose this game because the Saints were also playing without Sean Payton. Pete Carmichael was calling offensive plays. Didn't love the game that Pete put together there. So that was not great. And basically, like again, the only thing that's uglier than the Bucs box score might be the Saints. Marquez Callaway has a weird, 116 or 112 yard game on 6 catches, 9 targets. Nobody else has more than 17 yards as a receiver.
Nothing.
Alvin Kamara completely blanked. 11 for 18.
God. God.
Like, almost nothing in the pass game. Mark Ingram, 9 carries for 10 yards. I mean, we know nobody runs on Tampa, but still, it was awful. It was awful there for the Saints. They looked pissed. They looked drained. It was just bad. It was a bad like body language type of game for the Bucs too.
How about Tom? Speaking of body language, Tom Brady rushing to the sideline to tell him "F you." Like, what is that all about?
Throwing the surface, yelling at refs. I mean, it was. They clearly wanted to win this game, and then it was very apparent that was not.
Damn. Hey, listen, when he comes back though, there was some reports that, the team was considering what to do with Antonio Brown, as in, do we retain Antonio Brown? Is he a distraction to the Super Bowl? And now it's just like, no, forget it. Antonio Brown's coming back. And I tell you what, when he comes back next week, he's getting peppered with, double-digit targets. He's going to go absolutely crazy next week.
Any sort of farce that they might take a moral stand on Antonio Brown, it's like, give me a break. I felt like he was always a lock to come back to this roster.
Sure.
It is what it is. So gets the Panthers this week, then the Jets. I mean, Antonio Brown might go from a guy who hasn't played for your fantasy team in forever to a league winner here. I mean, if he's available on any waiver wires, he should be added immediately and is like a potential top 10 receiver this week. The Panthers pass defense is whatever. I know they have good cornerbacks, but Buffalo took advantage of them last week. The thing with the Panthers too is their offense is such a nightmare that they can give an opposing team short fields at any point.
Any point.
I think Gronk is a top 5 tight end play this week as well. Saw 11 targets last week. Didn't convert on very many of them because nobody's really converting for Tampa Bay. But we also have to remember New Orleans is designed to take away tight ends. That defense for New Orleans is fully healthy. Like, they will be frisky down the stretch. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. I doubt they'd win a playoff game with Taysom Hill starting at quarterback, but they are designed to kind of take away those tight ends as well.
Man, how about the fact that Rob Gronkowski 11 freaking targets and converted on just 2 catches? Oh my goodness. It was
rough.
Yeah, as a guy who is running Gronk out there, I'm like, this is a nightmare. This is an absolute. How is he not catching these balls? And he was just under duress. I mean, he was completely blanketed, man. It was tough.
Yeah, it was tough. They were definitely like trying to get Brady to take shots, and just nothing was there. Couldn't get it down the field to these guys like, again, Tyler Johnson and Scotty Miller. It's just a huge drop off from the two, like the best receiver duo in the league, to these guys. There it's a huge drop off. They probably don't have a shot now at the number 1 seed. We'll see. I mean, Green Bay might control that thing, and then you got to go through Lambeau, the whole deal. And this is just a lesson of like, the Bucs are the healthiest team in the NFL this year. They have been last year, they have been anything but this year. That stuff changes week to week. How are you feeling about Ronald Jones though? I mean, if Ronald Jones is, against the Panthers, I mean, the Jets in week 16, if he gets that start, like, listen, we talk all the time about stashing backup running backs, and Jones was the guy I pointed out several times. He could easily be a top 15 running back. He doesn't have the juice in the passing game that Fournette does, but I mean, we used to think Fournette didn't have juice in the passing game either. So maybe he does surprise us there.
You hit it right on the head. I mean, this is a guy that's going to be, a top 15 running back. And right now the running back landscape looks pretty damn weird anyways, right?
Awful.
It looks crazy and weird and awful. But yeah, no, listen, this is a guy that we saw last year, had a really great stretch. 100-yard games on the reg, and was doing some stuff even out of the passing game. Actually, we know he can't really catch the ball well, but there were times when they did feed him the rock. And at the end of the day, when he's the starter, he's the go-to guy, and it sounds like he will be for the next couple of weeks. I mean, bottom line is Tom Brady needs to throw the ball to the running back. It doesn't matter who's back there. And so long as he is the guy, I would imagine Ronald Jones is gonna see some work. So Keyshawn Vaughn or whatever, you would think, okay, he's gonna get some work. But because of the whole doghouse situation that you were talking about too, look, it's not like they bring in specialists to just catch passes. If you're gonna be out there, you got to be able to run the ball and you got to be able to catch it, right? So, I don't know. I'm very intrigued by Ronald Jones, but I think you got it right on the head, man. I think he is a top 12 to 15 running back to close out the show. And if you've got him, if you have literally been just stashing him for this, look, good on you, because it looked like there was no chance in hell this dude was going to play. But certainly an injury has opened the door for Ronald Jones. And yeah, man, I'm with you, man. This is a guy that could be a playoff savior, especially considering the running back landscape.